Hi, I'm creating this video today because there are lots of people who don't know exactly what it is financially they're going to be entitled to during this absolutely bonkers time. So something I've been saying a lot recently is unprecedented times are calling for unprecedented action. And our government has actually taken unprecedented action, which is crazy. Actually, I wasn't expecting it. But you know, hats off, they're doing good. It's awesome. With regards to helping us. Okay, no doubt things are going to carry on changing. Things are changing daily with the help that's being announced for us. And so what I'm doing is I've spent a lot of time this morning collating as much information as I can, speaking to the job centre regarding the universal credit, speaking to the business rates department at the council regarding these grants that apparently we're entitled to. I've also got the links for the government websites and the Federation of Small Business websites, and also for anybody in our local area, so Folkestone, and that sort of area that deals with the business rates go through Folkestone Hive Council, then I've also got direct contact details for them. So for anybody who doesn't know me, my name is Rachel Davenport. I own a complementary therapy centre on Tonton Street in Folkestone. I am a self-employed therapist myself, and I have 12 self-employed therapists that work with me at my centre. So obviously I'm really concerned financially for them because this is the first time I'll say this out loud, but we are closing our doors. I also own a complementary therapy teaching college, which I'm sure you understand. Yesterday with the announcement, our doors closed yesterday. So I'll be doing a little bit of teaching virtually. But the other thing I do is I mentor therapists in business. And I help therapists to build their businesses, gain their clients, that sort of stuff. Now is not the time for that stuff. Now is the time for you guys to understand exactly what it is currently you're entitled to. No doubt things will change and develop and there'll be even more, but at the minute, this is where the government's at. I'm seeing lots of people in lots of forums with some misinformation. So I've heard that the grants are only for limited companies. That's not true. I've heard that the only thing self-employed therapists can actually get their hands on is a statutory sick pay of £90 a week. That's also not true. So I've done a lot of running around today to get all this information together for you. Anything that I say in this, the link is going to be, if you're watching this on social media, in the post above, or if you're watching it on Instagram, below. On the YouTube channel, which I'm going to pop it on, it's going to be in the comments underneath the video. And I'll probably put this on my website as well, coretherapistcollege.com. So, first thing you need to know, if you own a complementary therapy centre, a salon, a hair salon, a beauty salon, anything like that at all, and you're entitled to small business rate relief. Now, if you don't have a premises, you won't know what that is, and don't worry because it's irrelevant for you. This is for people who are paying high rents and are entitled to small business rate relief, and usually have employees as well, of which I do have an employee. I have spoken to the small business rate relief, the business rates team this morning at our local council, who were amazing, by the way, so friendly, so lovely, so helpful. And the current state of situation is there are several levels of things that people are potentially entitled to. We don't need to do anything to claim these things. We are having an automatic entitlement given to us. So for instance, my clinic, my treatment centre, is of a rateable value underneath £12,000, which means that I'm entitled to the small business rate relief, which I get. I've literally just had my business rates bill through now because it's that time of year. And so what the lovely lady I spoke to in the business rates department said is that they are collating everybody's information. So they're going through everybody's information, seeing exactly who's entitled to what, of which there are several things, depending on whether you're retail, depending on whether you're a big business with large business rate expenses. They're seeing exactly who's entitled to what, and then they're contacting us to tell us what we're entitled to. As it stood when I spoke to this lovely lady this morning at 10 o'clock, 10:30. As it stood when I spoke to this lovely lady at the local council, she stated that for places that have small business rate relief are entitled to the £10,000 grant. There is no sliding scale on that currently. They're looking at paying out 100%, and there aren't any restrictions on it. You just have to be entitled to small business rate relief. At this moment, things are subject to change. They've not had all the directives yet. Now, the original information on the government website, which was put on yesterday, which the link will be in the comments for, was saying that the money will be available as of April, and that the councils will be getting directive now so they can be dishing out the money as of April. Nobody knows, nobody at the council knows whether that money is going to be coming sooner, but it is coming, and you will be being contacted. So my first piece of advice, get on the phone to your local council. If you are in Folkestone, the contact number, direct contact number, no sitting queues, is 01303 853 223, or email business.rates@folkestone-hythe.gov.uk. If you're with a different council, give them a shout, give them a call, get through to the business rates team. They want to make sure they have your correct details, correct contact details. I realised this morning that the correspondence address that they had for my college was the wrong address. So that was part of what prompted me to phone them. So they want you to phone to give them that information, or email. And they're really happy as well for you to phone to get reassurance from them, okay? So at no point did they say, we're inundated, we don't need, they're like, no, please, anybody who's worried, call us. We want to reassure people. So that's really good, okay? As it stands at the minute, anybody over that £12,000 threshold, which means they're not entitled to small business rate relief, up to the business rateable value of £51,000 is getting their business rates free for the year. And there is other stuff as well. There's another grant specifically for retail, but I don't know a lot about that. It's a £25,000 grant specifically for retail that was on a sliding scale, but at the moment that I phoned, just a few minutes before, they were getting directives through to say that they're giving all of it, 100% to everybody who is entitled to that. But because as a clinic owner, I'm not entitled to that, and they didn't have a lot of information on that, I didn't go into lots of detail with that because I did take up quite a bit of her time. But phone them. If you're retail, phone them and find out about that. That should also be in the link that I'm going to be putting above as well on the .gov.uk website /COVID-19. Okay, that's where you can find a lot of the information. But because it's on so many different pages, I'm actually putting the links to the specific pages in this video and in the comments and things. So that's if you have a business at a premises, all right? Now, if you are self-employed, the original directive was that anybody who is self-employed, which only came into force like within the last few days, anybody who was self-employed and had to go self-isolate for 2 weeks, which is what the original mandate was 2 weeks, was that you would be entitled to the £90 per week for the 2 weeks of statutory sick pay. That's there, but that's not what you're looking at now. What they're now saying, and I've got a contact phone number, I've got some information, there's a link for the Federation of Small Businesses where that information is, and what they're now saying is that you can apply for universal credit. Now, everybody goes, oh God, universal credit, it's a nightmare. I went down and spoke to the guys at the job centre this morning. Don't go to your job centre to go and speak to them about it because they can't give you any information. What you need to do is you go online to the Universal Credit website, you make your application, you fill out all of the information. When you get to the end of the application you've submitted, you then get directed to contact the job centre to get an appointment with an advisor. So you have to make the application before you can get the appointment, okay? Now, what they're saying is the time on that roughly at the minute is about 5 weeks. However, what they have done is they've put into place, They've put into place a payment advance. So once you've applied, you can then immediately apply for a payment advance. So if you're in real financial dire straits, you don't have to wait for the application to be completed. You don't have to wait for them to come back to you with a letter and say, this is what you're entitled to and here's your lump sum of money backdated. What they're saying is they will give you a payment advance if you're entitled to it. Okay. Universal credits does include the housing benefit element. So do bear that in mind as well if you're renting a property, of which lots of us are, and I'm going to get onto rentals in just a moment, okay? So what they've said is you go onto the website, it's exactly the same process for everybody. You fill out the online application. As I said, don't go to the job centre because they will send you home or they'll direct you to the computers there to fill it out there. If you don't have access to a computer at home to fill out the form, you can go to the job centre and fill the form out at the desks at the job centre. But there's one guy there who sort of points you in the right direction, but he's not there to help you fill out the application, okay? Or you can go to your local library. All the time they're still open, all right? So once you've filled the form out and completed the application online, then you get directed to contact the job centre, your local job centre, to make that appointment with an advisor, and you can apply for the payment advance. Okay. He didn't tell me exactly how instant that was, but apparently that's quick. Like, quick. Okay. So that will really help you if you are self-employed and you have been impacted financially. I deal with therapists. There is not one therapist now really that's treating. We still are now. We are treating tomorrow. Depending on what the directive is tomorrow will depend on whether we have to shut our doors tomorrow. Okay. But we have very strict protocols in place for clients coming in and very strict protocols on who we will allow in. And we also have a skeleton staff, all right? Even my receptionist is working remotely from home. So, grant for people entitled to small business rate relief, universal credit for anybody who's financially been affected by this, who is self-employed, okay? Or employed at a salon or clinic or whatever, but then let go for financial reasons. So apply for that, okay? Really important. What they've also said is you can still be earning a little bit of money and still apply. So do still apply because you won't know what you're entitled to until you've given it a go. Now, the next thing I want to get onto, and this is the last bit, everybody has seen, and there's been lots of kicking off online regarding the fact that anybody who has a mortgage is able to effectively apply for a 3-month hiatus. So you defer the payments for 3 months and then you carry on paying after that and agree a repayment plan or however that's working. But the problem there has come is for people who are renting, of which I know a lot of people who are renting. I rent myself. I don't own my own property. I rent myself. I rent my home. And so what the government have done is they have released the same directive for buy-to-let mortgages, which means that landlords, if you come into difficulty as a renter, contact your landlord or your agent. They've already got things in place. They are not allowed to evict you if you can't pay your rent, but you do have to keep in communication with them. So do contact them, let them know that you're going to struggle to pay your rent. And the landlords, if they have a mortgage on the property, a buy-to-let mortgage on the property, they can request that hiatus. This doesn't mean that you're not going to pay your rent for those 3 months, because it's up to 3 months. It doesn't mean you're not going to pay your rent eventually, because of course you will pay it. But it gives you some breathing room. It doesn't matter if your tenancy agreement specifically states no benefits. I've just spoken to my landlord this morning, and I'm not in a position at the minute where I'm going to need to apply for the universal credits, and I'm hoping not to be. However, if I do, my landlord has said, ignore your tenancy agreement. Of course, we will accept that. These are exceptional circumstances. Everybody is very understanding that these are exceptional circumstances. And my landlord's position, and I believe most landlords' position, is going to be, as long as they know what's going on and that you want to make payment but you physically don't have it, and they have proof that you have applied for the universal credit. So at the end screenshot, thank you for your application, there's your application number, you take a screenshot of that, you provide that as evidence or print it off. They understand that their rent's going to be a bit delayed. Okay? Do bear that in mind. It is okay. And as I said, the grants are available for sole traders as well as limited companies. Now, in the post that I'm going to be putting out, I'm going to be putting all the links out for you. If I've missed anything, I'll write it in the post, because I've probably missed something that I meant to say. I really hope this is helpful. Like I say, I'm not a professional at this, but what I am is a business person who's desperately wanting to make sure not only that my business doesn't go under, but that you guys are okay too, because that's really important to me. Now, if you are a therapist and you're watching this and you want to be a part of a community, a free community, I'm opening up my Core Therapies College students Facebook group to any therapist who wants to join. We're going to be doing meditations in there. We're going to be supporting each other. We're going to be talking about how we can still give advice and help our people, our clients, even though we're not physically going to be seeing people face to face. All right? And if we go into lockdown, it's going to be a real support for us all. Okay? So if you want to be in that group, go to Facebook, go to Core Therapies College Students, and just click to join, and I'll just add you all. Okay? And we'll have a blast. All right? Okay. Lots of love, and please, please, please take care, and don't forget to wash your hands. Okay. Bye-bye.